Transformer, where the true fans rally. Just Hella's in the house now. Let's talk the real story. Hang it off.
Can I ask you this? Did they ever actually re-release him as a gun?
They did in Japan, but they can't do it here. And even trying to import it to here, it's been intercepted by the Postal Service so many times because people are sensitive about a toy that looks like a gun now, obviously. So now he's a tank.
It makes sense, but still.
Yeah, it does. But if adults want to have, yeah,
I know.
So it's essentially like Hasbro's version of like the Jart, the lawn dart. Is like you just can't black market that straight up. So
right. People are furious now because they're doing the Hasbro is reissuing every property as many times as they possibly can, and they're doing the Transformers '86 versions of these toys, where they made an Optimus Prime looks just like the movie, and a Starscream, and the Insecticons, and then Megatron. They had to make a tank, and people are losing their minds over this because it's like rewriting history.
Jeff, can I ask you a quick question about like your thoughts on Gunpla? Then I mean, this is kind of like the next evolution. Yeah, right. Get Zaz out of here. I'm out, guys. Later.
Sorry, what was your question again? Oh, he actually left. Okay.
Yeah. No.
And we didn't do the intro for him, so
Your thoughts on Gunpla? Like, I mean, we're talking about Transformers, and basically Gunpla is robotic based. I mean, everything from like things that I can think of and examples that I can think of. But Hasbro has like a bunch of Transformers in there. Why is my brain stopping now? I got a bunch of Gunpla here. But how does that fit into your thoughts on the scene of a toy design in general?
I'll be honest, I've never taken the leap, and I've been thinking about it quite a lot. Because they've reissued. Bandai is doing like all of these Gunpla versions of these old 80s like super robots you can't possibly afford anymore, and they look just like the real thing. So I've been thinking about it, but I don't actually know what I'm gonna get. So you might know more than I do.
Josh and I we talked about it recently. Wasn't there one Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Transformer combo they released recently? It was like $400. It was something. It was
ridiculous, but it looked.
It was a crazy amount of money. But I mean, obviously, these things scale from anything from like $20, where you do this cute little, it's like 25 pieces, and it's still a lot of fun. And to like a large thousands of pieces, very realistic, like battle damage, and you can do poses. But I mean, again, they're not per se toys. They're not toys, essentially, I guess. But the idea is still there that you're interacting and adding on, because with the Transformer ones, you could add pieces onto it. No, not Transformers, Voltron. So,
I will say this though: any building system is a toy, to me.
True.
Unless it's meant for living in or constructing like buildings, where like a puzzle, a basic 200-piece puzzle is a toy. To me. It uses your mind. It distracts you. It's fun. So
and the other end of that, you have some of those really sophisticated museum level pieces that theoretically can transform, but you can tell they weren't designed to be transformed more than like 2 times ever, or those hinges are all going to break off. And they call that a toy. Is it a toy? I don't know.
Yeah, you're right there. But if you're not playing with it, I don't know. That's why I take my toys out of the box and I piss people off. Like, that could be collectible someday. And the only thing I haven't done with it is Lego Voltron. I know it's probably not even going to lose much value by taking out the box, as long as I keep all the Legos. But in general, all my toys get played with. That's why I bought them, to enjoy them, to feel them. So I was going to ask you about that. Do you have many toys that are still in the box?
None. Not a one. I feel the exact same way. The episode I just did on the
that makes me happy.
The Starscream knockoff, the Phantom from Transistor Robots. I bought that thing, and I don't think it had ever been taken out of the box. And I busted out on camera, and I'm like, I'm going to break this thing the first time through. But it was minced. Like, it was incredible. I'm transforming this toy, and I can tell it's never been transformed.
You know that sound.
Right.
That plastic on plastic first bend.
And as a comic collector, too, I've never understood. No, I understand, but I'm never going to be one of those people who, like, CGCs my comics. Where it goes encased in this big thing where you can never open it and read it. And it's like, well, then just buy a poster. I want to read and touch the comic book and feel the history. And I want to transform the toy and play with it and be 5 years old again for 5 seconds.
Man, I feel like that's such a 90s aughts thing where like comics, like they started like creating these specifically collector editions where you weren't supposed to touch. I have a Lobo versus Superman with like decals. Remember old decals? With just plastic stickers. And it was them fighting, and you could just you put them on the daily plan. This is mullet Superman, by the way, guys. I don't know if you know, at one point in time in the late 90s, they were like, you know what makes Superman cool? What? A mullet. And
they killed him. They killed him for it. Remember?
No, that was post-killing. That was post-killing.
Oh, that was the yeah.
Yeah.
It was like I saw death and I learned I needed a new haircut. That's what it taught me.
It's wonderful. It was a wonderful time to be alive. And there was like 30 of them, and one like had a belt that was on its side. And he was like, "Yeah, bowl cut," you know. But anyway, so the point being was they're like, I had a friend who bought 2 copies of every comic, and he was like, "I can open the one, but keep the other." And we're just kids. We're kids, and I understand collecting. Don't get me wrong, but like when it came to these issues, like where you had the decals. Remember Shrinky Dinks, by the way? But
they're back in a big way, by the way.
Really? Do they still contain terrible I mean, I love
Target has them.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, the point being
that was wild.
What's that?
Color Forms came back. You remember
Color Forms came back?
Wow.
Yeah. I still remember the smell of Color Forms, like that vinyl, staticky. Yeah, beautiful stuff.
I remember what it felt like to chew on them because I was that kid.
Nice.
It's a texture. It's cool. It's like a gummy. Yeah, I get you.
It's
I'm not making fun of you for that.
I feel like there's a Venn diagram right now being built going toxic chemicals and being a YouTuber. Like right now. It's fantastic.
Yes. It finally explains everything.
We're here, boys.
Did you chew too many pen caps?
What?
Yeah.
Did you chew too many pen caps? You might be a YouTuber. You ever chew it so long you gagged a little bit?
Oh, yikes. Yeah. When that juice would suddenly shoot down your throat unexpectedly, you knew you went too far.
All right, Twitch, we're going to take a break right now to let you know that hi.
Thanks. No, you're 100% right. Never talk to a nostalgia person about feelings. Like, you remember that feeling in your throat? Yeah. You ever get a Lego stuck in? Yeah, I remember that feeling too. We didn't talk much about comics, but like, did you comics come later, or were it just like they filtered in and you again got serious at a certain point?
I was always obsessed with superheroes. So like, as soon as I knew how to read, I was grabbing comic books off the shelves. But I was born a little too late, for comics that were aimed at kids. I was learning how to read in like the mid 1980s, and comics were getting like super sophisticated and full of dense prose. The first Batman comic I ever bought, I was in a dime. I'm 5 years old. My mom buys me this comic. I've gone back and read it as an adult. It is a story. I swear I'm not making this up. The entire story is centered on a tree being knocked down. That is a symbol for urban renewal. And I'm a 5-year-old reading this going,
I get the symbology here. Yes, that's the metaphor of the tree.
Interesting point. Thank you. Yes,
wow.
Absolutely. I wanted to see good guys fight bad guys. So it took a while for me to be able to really appreciate, comic books as a medium itself. But I always wanted to be a comic book fan. And as I've gotten older, I've actually realized the stuff I love the most was published before I was born. I'm a big 70s and early 80s guy.
Dude, if it ends in one issue and there's still another story tacked onto the end because they're trying to sell another comic book like Black Widow or something, like I'm in. Like I want Superman to do something completely stupid and it to be fine at the end and Lois doesn't know who he is. Like I love that. In the 90s, early 90s, I bought I was the guy who haunted the 10-cent comic bins at Ides, which we need to bring up. If there's a 10-cent comic box, I was in it and I bought that stuff. And as we get into Ides, because we talked before the show, anybody listening, about Ides, the best comic book store in Pittsburgh. I'm going to go East Coast and New York's going to get pissed.
Possibly the entire region of the country.
It's that amazing of a place. Been around forever, feeding Pittsburghers and nerds everywhere for decades. Unfortunately, the book that I was going to bring up earlier, because we talked about Turtles, we talked about comics. Have you ever heard of Adolescent, Radioactive, Samurai, Hamsters?
I had it.
I had the first 4 issues of that too.
Wasn't there Black Belt in there somewhere too? Like that
Black
was one
Belt,
of the
Black Belt, not Samurai. Black Belt. And I got rid of them. I don't know why.
I was obsessed with turtles in 1989 or 90, whenever that was, and anything that even looked remotely like them, I bought. It's actually how I became a Usagi Yojimbo fan, which I'm a diehard fan of today.
See, you're in the right place, and I can't believe Josh is off the screen. He probably had to go do something, but yeah, Jimbo was the best. Just sorry, like I love the turtles. They were a little bit too late for me, the older me, like they were getting big, but I collected them, and Jimbo was. I mean, everybody like Usagi Yojimbo. Just looked at that, and then I read the comics. And a friend of mine was very much into Cerebus, who on a very early version of this show. We talked to people that made the movie a couple of years ago.
Wow.
There's a Cerebus movie. I always say it's Cerebus or Cerberus, but Cerberus is wrong. It's Cerebus.
It was supposed to be Cerberus. They screwed it up.
And Jimbo was in there in an issue of that, along with the Turtles.
He was?
They had crossovers. Yeah.
Well, I know the Turtles showed up in Cerebus. I didn't know Usagi was in there.
I think he was in a year before, right around that same time frame. Yeah.
Wow.
As I remember it, I might have been reading the same stuff and drunk, but I remember him being in there. Like I remember the Turtles being in there, and then I remember him becoming Pope. Yep.
I mean, that really happened. You weren't drunk for that part. Dave Sim might have been.
He was definitely. He was on something.
To go back to your Batman story real quick, referring to the tree. DC was really known for that because one of my first comics when I was a child. My mom was a tomboy farm girl, and she gave me a stack of comics all from like. The 60s and 70s, and one of them was like a Green Lantern and Green Arrow. And when you hear those two names, you're like, "Oh, this is going to be the most epic takedown of a bad guy! I can't wait to read this." And then you open it and you read it, and it's about urban development and how Green Arrow is going to teach Green Lantern that, hey, you're up there saving the galaxies. By the way, us little people down here. By the way, Green Arrow, billionaire. He's like, you need to focus on the little man. And it was just like I'm reading this, going, okay, so when are we going to punch somebody in the face? Like. Did not happen. So anyway,
bold DC stuff. But if you're a Hal Jordan fan, it was a little bit rough. But that was all Denny O'Neil. He was the social consciousness guy. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well done. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's by the way, the new Miss Marvel is actually Spectrum, and her first appearance, I think, in the 90s was also another one of those too. I think it said "Stop the Hate" was on the cover, and then she's the new Miss Marvel, I guess it's going to be. Anyway, how you guys doing?
No, I never. So my thing was, I grew up on the very cheap. Like I read the ads as much as I read the comics, and it's a shame that I've looked for entire channels on YouTube or somebody that would actually every once in a while find somebody that has a toy that was in there. I want to see a review of every toy that was in every comic from the 70s to the 90s, like because I want to see what it was really like. What's that?
Did you buy the Sea Monkeys?
Yes,
I had Sea Monkeys, but not because of comics. They were in the toy store. My mom but I went to several of those.
You really thought you were buying a family of like little humanoids. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I did think that at first, yes. And it was like, no, those are just little baby shrimp. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah. You had TR, and then it was Wizard, and then it was like in the middle of the comic, the bulletin board, which made like not Joe Quesada, but who was the editor? They always made fun. They always had like a one shot, like little comic thing that was always making fun of the Marvel editor at the time. Like that was yes, it was always like a standard, just constantly making fun of him. Like yeah. Anyway, sorry.
I don't think he liked it.
No, I can't imagine knowing some of the backstories. Absolutely not.
Did Twinkie the Kid ever get his own comic?
I don't think he was even in the Twinkie comics that were in comic books.
You're shitting me. That's
well,
just not right.
I kid you not. One of the best things I ever did with my kids, one of my favorite memories that will flash before my mind before I die, was I got them to they didn't want to read my comic books. I couldn't sell them on that. This generation's not as much into that, but we got out all of my old Bronze Age comic books and would read the Twinkie advertisements or the Hostess advertisements in every single issue together. We do the voices and all that, and Twinkie the Kid doesn't ever appear. You'll have like Green Lantern. You'll have like Captain Marvel. Archie was in them, but Twinkie the Kid does not appear.
Ambush Bug will make an appearance. Don't worry, he'll show up.
I would buy that in a second. I would love to see Ambush Bug in a Twinkie ad. That'd be incredible.
Yeah,
we can make it up. Speaking of, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that actually there's a big discussion about like comic book ennui when it comes to like, you know, properties like TV and movies and stuff. And I always said like, you know, that would be a way to really just kind of poke and wake everybody up, is bring back some old vintage characters they never heard of, you know, in like a climax, like surprise, it's Power Pack, or surprise, it's like, you know, Ambush Man. I mean, they did with I almost said Darkwing Duck. Jeez, Lewis. No, they almost did with Howard the Duck. Like when you know, Guardians of the Galaxy, they were like, I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy are retro as it is, but throwing like Howard the Duck in there and just kind of, it kind of, I don't know, revitalizes, I think, a little bit instead of like the same old. So anyway.
Hey, look, it's Chris Evans again. Although let's
no,
be
stop.
He's the
glorious
last Chris
boy.
Evans appearance was the best Chris Evans appearance. It's going to be better than it's going to be in the next movie. I'm telling you that. I'm talking about Deadpool.
Yeah.
That was.
I'm just saying. Like the idea is like, you know, just what really needs to happen is bring some of these characters that, you know, we haven't heard of in a long time, and some of like, you know, our family. Like, I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy was a risk on its own. That's why it's just amazing. But I mean, that went through a lot of different iterations. So
I wanted to ask you if you, well, it's a two-part question. The first one is, have you and you know, your friends at CCF put out a product, have plans to put out a product, your own comic book, your own book, your own outside of YouTube videos, a feature-length movie sort of thing? Or have you been involved with others who have used your forums to put out their own material? Anything on those lines you'd want to mention?
Yeah, actually, we have some really talented people in the community who do produce their own comic books. So we almost like it would almost be insulting to be like, hey, can we have your talent making a CCF comic book? Because we have like the Crime Busters is one of the comics that one of our regulars does. There's another one called the Le Bras de Orion, which means the arm of Orion, I believe it is. It's a French-Canadian comic that blows my mind. It's a interstellar galactic soap opera epic sort of thing.
Okay.
These guys are so talented, and I'm kind of just like, you know, I know them. It's amazing. So yeah, we'll probably never put anything of our own, but I'd rather just sort of be a cheerleader for all the cool stuff that people in the community are already making. We have a whole section for original fiction and art, and some of it is, you know, amateurs you'd expect, and some of it is honestly better than the stuff being put out by the big publishers right now.
still creating at the end of the day. I mean, that's phenomenal.
I mean, I was wondering, like, how do you? I expected you to have people on your forums who are putting out their own stuff, but I wasn't sure about you guys because you are creative. Clearly, you have a passion. And I'm like, how do you not write a script and then find a pencil guy and like go through the whole process? Like, so, what?
You know, honestly,
do you want me to say a tracer? No.
What do you want, Tracer? God,
sounds like a really cool 80s sci-fi movie I want to watch. Tracer.
Yeah,
wasn't it? Hey, wait, did we just watch that? Was
my favorite character in Overwatch. I mean, but here we are.
That's awesome. You know, actually, in college, I was an English major, and one of my focuses was in creative writing, and I really thought I was going to be a writer one day, and I kind of realized pretty quickly that I had nothing to say. I love writing about and creating about other people's stuff. I love to play in somebody else's sandbox, but when it comes to creating my own stuff, I think there are better people for that. I would rather kind of find that stuff someone else made and be like, hey, this is amazing. Why don't you know about it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I applaud you because despite the fact that I've never succeeded over like massively in doing the creative thing, I still keep trying. I've never said, you know, maybe I just have a great one. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Be safe out there. Treat each other well.